Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with some Ripple XRP news. This is going to be a super short video just going over some XRP Neo tweets at XRP_Anderson about some speculation regarding Moneygram, his thoughts, and a lot of people in the string tend to agree and just bounce some ideas back and forth. So I just wanted to point this out and what's going on Twitter. He's definitely a respected person in the XRP community and definitely provides a lot of great content. So I just wanted to share this around. So really quick, XRP Neo, part 1 of 7. So I think it's pretty clear that there are big plans based around Moneygram. If you don't like speculation in a speculative market, please don't read this tweet. Things have been pointing to Moneygram for a long time. They announced a pilot for some time ago with XRapid, and then as we go on, just so you know, guys, let's see, he says it right here as well. Moneygram is the second largest payment provider after Western Union in the world. And in late June, Ripple, the private company, and Moneygram announced a partnership, including an equity investment from Ripple worth up to $50 million. All right, so that's a large stake. Ripple and Moneygram, they both have something to gain from this. And as he goes on to say that Moneygram is willing to risk and do whatever it takes to get a competitive edge against Western Union. So Moneygram has also had financial troubles in recent years. They would thus be more inclined to take chances in comparison to the market leader, Western Union. Western Union has a big market lead and is likely comfortable and usually satisfied, and they're not willing to risk it and perhaps not willing to onboard and test XRP beforehand. So not as risk-taking as Moneygram would be. A deal with Ripple would provide Moneygram with new capital, which they need, and also try a business model in order to threaten the giant amongst payment providers, Western Union. What Ripple could get out of this, if Moneygram would promise to utilize multi-hop for banks, since banks are very conservative and don't want to touch crypto, and this is the way around it, due to, regulations at the time, they could do this in a way and avoid regulatory uncertainty by using an XRapid customer to go around so the banks don't actually have to custody or even hold the XRP. So this deal could thus provide a big boost for XRapid liquidity. And this is probably, they have tons and tons of corridors, guys. 200 plus corridors, there's 340,000 offices, hundreds of countries. So this is huge for both parties. All right. So not having to wait for regulatory certainty in most corridors. This would also put a lot of pressure on Western Union to provide a better service if Moneygram is able to cut costs by 40 to 70% and provide a better service. And we've already seen Western Union CEO sweating on stage. Very true. Interestingly enough, SBI Remit and Moneygram are also working together. And for those of you that don't know, SBI Remit, SBI Group based out of Japan, they're a financial service business. They provide a bunch of financial products and related services, securities, banks and insurance, as well as different startups related to IT, information technology, environmental energy, finance, everything in really Japan. And they're primarily focusing on asset management and providing investment related services. And so they own a large portion. SBI in particular owns about 10% of the private company Ripple. Or maybe not, I believe it's Ripple. I'll have to double check on that. Please do not take anything I say as financial advice either. And they do own a large stake of XRP as well. So as we go on right here, they're also working together. To me, it seems like there's an alliance being built between Ripple, SBI, Moneygram, and R3 that will be able to use XRP through Corda Settler. And I'd have to agree. Now, all of these organizations have a vested interest. R3, SBI, and Ripple own a large stake of XRP. Moneygram will be utilizing XRP for savings. So they all have a vested interest. And let's see, I'll still believe the infrastructure is being built. Of course, these payment rails, you have to lay the tracks before launching this, especially going through all the hurdles of regulation. But they're doing a great job. And for example, Bob Way, he was a former Ripple employee, mentioned Corda Settler being integrated with Interledger Protocol, ILP. And the ILP is essentially, as I just mentioned in the previous video, and I'll be releasing a video. I have it scheduled ahead of time, so I guess we'll see when that pops up, but it's about the Interledger Protocol. And essentially, blockchains are networks, and you need something to communicate the blockchains, to basically bridge the blockchains. You have to put something, kind of an intra-network, a network that connect the networks, and blockchain is a network. So the Interledger Protocol will allow us to transfer value between blockchains or between various networks. And it's basically not carrier agnostic, but currency and value agnostic. So you can send XRP, you could send gold, you could send Ethereum, you could send any form of fiat through the interledger protocol. And so Corda is going to be integrated with that. And what's clear to me is that Moneygram would be a strategic piece, both for Moneygram itself as well as for Ripple and XRapid utilization as a whole. So very true. Great points here. And then I'm going to go to a second tweet and we'll be calling it a day. So right here, XRP Neo. I'd like to explain why I don't believe in a slow increase in XRP usage over the years. And so it's his point of why he thinks XRapid adoption will occur quickly once it happens, kind of like a snowball effect. So the main and perhaps the only reason is that if your competitor can save 40% more than you on transfers, whether it's 40% or even as high as 70%, I've seen figures depending if you're talking XRP usage or just XCurrent, that is enough to make you panic. Imagine just 5% of banks having those savings. Absolutely, there's going to be a domino effect. I think it more has to do with the ball starts rolling, when the ball starts rolling. Just like I said with the snowball effect, until then, it will likely be very slow. Like what we experience now, XRapid is used to a very small extent. I assume the big shift will come as soon as big banks go live. And I tend to agree, all these small corridors are being lit up and we're getting regulatory approval. But again, we're not going to be moving the big capital through until there is actual clarity in terms of regulation. When the regs come, that is when utility will be allowed to flip the switch and just turn on. So what I assume will take longer is other markets being added, such as new derivatives, settling securities, all different markets being settled in XRP. But banks are in competition with one another. They won't allow themselves to be in such a disadvantage. And that's true. And this is, things have been in the works for a long time. And as I've always said, I believe that R3 will focus, just like Yoshitaka Kitao, CEO of SBI Holdings, has stated and been quoted saying that Ripple will continue to focus on the remittance and global settlement portion, whereas he's trying to position R3 to focus on supply chain management, healthcare, real estate, these other huge markets, and perhaps even in the derivatives market, which we know how huge that is. I covered the DTCC a lot. The deposit clearinghouse is massive. We're talking $1.4 quadrillion transferred annually. It is the largest value transfer in the world, or the amount of money that, is flowing through there on a daily basis. So something to consider. And now they're kind of going back and forth here, the real block and XRP Neo. Just talking about the multi-hop capabilities as well. We've talked multi-hop, we've talked XCurrent 4.0 as well, which essentially allows you to integrate XRP. David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, has said that there are still, it's not as simple as turning a switch yet though, because there's a lot that has to be happening on the back end to ensure that, everything's loaded, the software is compatible, that when the time is ready, they can load and then use XRP as an option, which they will once the APIs and gateways are all set up, because 1, it's the fastest, 2, it's the cheapest. That's how business works. They're working on efficiency, and once there is certainty that it'll work well, we're good to go. And sorry about that, my phone just went off due to some pricing. So let's see. Oh, Bitcoin rapidly dropped by 2.5 or 2.1%. Shocker. But all right, guys. We're going to call that a day. This is just a super short video update covering XRP Neo's thoughts on Moneygram. I'm really curious to see what comes in the next year or so, and I would love to see some banks go live. We'll see if SBI VC goes live on next Monday, the 22nd. There's tons of speculation, and SBI has released documents saying they are still going live this month, and it is highly unlikely that they will wait until the 29th, which is closing in on one of the last days of the month. That is not how banks and FIs, financial institutions, tend to operate, and that would be fiscally irresponsible. They want to start things off at least in the middle of the month, so that's why everyone thought it was happening on the 16th. But we'll see. So again, guys, nobody knows, so remember, do not just follow anyone blindly. Always be skeptical. This is your hard-earned money. Do not just invest in XRP because me or some YouTuber or some, podcast or blogs told you to do so. Always, always, always do your own research and work hard for it and protect your stuff. Don't tell people how much you own. This is investing, guys. So with that, I will see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys.